How are you guys doing? Today is Monday, August 23rd, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Sunday, August 22nd, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Starting with the MLB, because that's the only active league in the States right now. The NFL and the NBA are currently in their preseason modes. Starting off in Baltimore, the Baltimore Orioles hosted the Atlanta Braves, and in the fourth inning alone, the Braves would beat the Orioles 3-1. Big game for the Braves as they were able to pick up yet another win. They got their first run off a solo home run from Jorge Soler, and then a two-run double from Adam Duvall would bring Freddie Freeman home to make it 3-0. For the Baltimore Orioles in this matchup, the start and the loss went to John Means. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 5 in the first 6 innings of the game. With this loss, he's 5-6 on the season. In the Orioles batting lineup, their third baseman, Ramon Urias, went 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day. For the Atlanta Braves in this matchup, the start and the win went to Tuki Toussaint. He allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the first 5.1 innings of the game. He struck out 5 for the matchup, and the win was given to the Braves closer, Will Smith. Smith allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out 2. He would pick up his 28th save of the season. The win. So Toussaint picked up the win. Smith picked up the save. In the Braves batting lineup, their designated hitter, Jorge Soler, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 18th home run of the season, and their left fielder, Adam Duvall, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 68-56. That is the best record in the National League East. They've won their last 9 games, which is the best winning streak in the National League, and it is now tied with the Yankees for the best winning streak in all of baseball at the moment. They now sit 5 games ahead of the second place Philadelphia Phillies in their division, and they are holding on to that 3 seed in the National League playoff picture as they sit 12 wins in 12 games behind the San Francisco Giants out west, and they sit 8 wins behind the Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently leading the Central. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are now 38-85. That is the worst record in the American League East. That is the worst record in the American League, and that is the worst record in all of baseball at the moment, as they've lost their last 18 games. That is the worst losing streak in the MLB since 2005. They currently trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 38 games in the division, to give a sense of what the gap in the American League is between the worst and best team. Jumping out to Toronto, the Toronto Blue Jays hosted the Detroit Tigers, and the Tigers were able to pick up a 5-3 win. In extra innings, they outscored the Blue Jays 3-1. They were able to go even in the 10th inning. Jonathan Scope would sacrifice fly it, and then Alejandro Kirk would sacrifice fly it to tie it up at 3. And then at the top of the 5th, Daz Cameron would double a run home, and then Willie Castro would double another run home to make it 5-3, and the Blue Jays simply couldn't respond. For the Blue Jays, the start was given to Steven Matz. He allowed 1 earned run and only 5 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 1 batter in the first 6 innings of the game. The loss would go to the setup relief pitcher Kirby Snead. He allowed 2 runs in .2 innings pitched as he led off the 11th inning, and he would only strike out 1 batter. With this loss, Kirby Snead is 0-1 for the Blue Jays this season, and in their batting lineup, their all-star shortstop Bo Bichette went 3 for 6 with a run as he led off for the team today. And also their left fielder Lourdes Gurriel Jr. went 3 for 5 with an RBI. For the Detroit Tigers, the start was given to Drew Hutchison. Hutchison allowed 1 run off of 4 hits in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 1. The win was given to the Tigers all-star closer Gregory Soto, who allowed 1 run in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 1. He would pitch the entire 9th and 10th innings. The save, however, would end up going to the Tigers closer for the day, Joe Jimenez. Jimenez allowed no earned runs in the 11th inning as he struck out 2. He picked up his first save of the season. With this win, Soto 6-3. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. In the Tigers batting lineup, their second baseman, Willie Castro, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher Dustin Garneau would end up going 2 for 3. And of course, a big milestone for their future Hall of Fame designated hitter, Miguel Cabrera. He went 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 500th home run of the season. A milestone that many people have been waiting a very long time for him to achieve. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 60-66. That is the third best record in the American League Central. They've won 4 of their last 10, and they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 12.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 64-58. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 11.5 games in the division. They currently trail the A's and the Red Sox by 4.5 games in the wild card as they are now the second team on the outside looking in, as they also trail the Seattle Mariners in the same race. Jumping out to Tampa Bay, the reigning American League champs hosted the current American League Central leaders, Chicago White Sox. And the Rays were able to shut the White Sox out 9-0, although the White Sox were able to gather 7 hits as a team. For the Chicago White Sox, the start and the loss were given to Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez allowed 3 earned runs in the first 4 innings of the game as he struck out 4. With this loss, Lopez is 2-1 on the season, and in the White Sox batting lineup, the only player with a multi-hit game was their shortstop, Danny Mendick. Danny Mendick will go 2 for 4 for Chicago. And for the Tampa Bay Rays, the start was given to Chris Archer. Long time no see. Chris Archer would allow no earned runs in the first 2 innings of the game. He allowed 1 hit and struck out 4. The win went to the Rays' first relief pitcher, Sean Armstrong, who allowed no earned runs, and he struck out 4 in the 3rd and 4th innings. With this win, he's now 1-0 on the season, and the save was given to the Rays' closer, Josh Fleming. Fleming allowed no earned runs in 3 innings pitched, as he did allow 3 hits as he pitched the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. In the Rays batting lineup, their pinch hitting first baseman, Yandy Diaz, would go 2 for 3 with a run. Their elite shortstop, Wander Franco, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their designated hitter, Austin Meadows, went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And then their catcher, Francisco Mejia, went 2 for 3 with an RBI, or 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs on the day. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 77-48. That is the best record in the American League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They currently sit 4.5 games ahead of the second-place New York Yankees in their division, and they are currently holding the number 1 seed in the American League, as they do hold the best record in the American League. They hold the 3rd best record in the MLB behind the Giants and the Dodgers at the moment, but I'll get to them. Just to give a sense of where the Rays sit. They sit ahead of the Astros and the White Sox in the playoff picture when we're looking at the division leaders. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are now 72-53. That is the best record in the American League Central. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They currently sit 9.5 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in their division, as they are holding on to the 3 seed in the American League playoff picture, sitting behind the Tampa Bay Rays out east and the Houston Astros out west. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the Miami Marlins. They were able to pull off a 3-1 win in their pursuit to a wild card spot, and they were able to take the lead in the 5th inning thanks to a Mike Moustakas home run, and then Tyler Naquin would hit his second home run of the day in the 8th inning to make it 3-1. For the Miami Marlins in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Sandy Alcantara. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 11 on the day. With this loss, Alcantara is 7-12 on the season. In the Marlins batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Miguel Rojas. Rojas went 2 for 4 for the day. For the Cincinnati Reds, the start and the win went to Vladimir Gutierrez. Gutierrez allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 8 on the day. With this win, Vladimir Gutierrez is 9-4, and the save was given to the Reds closer, Michael Lorenzen. Lorenzen allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched, and with this save, he now has 3 on the year. In the Reds batting lineup, their left fielder, Tyler Naquin, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 17th and 18th home runs of the season, and he was the only player with a multi-hit game. With this win, the Cincinnati Reds are now 69-57. That is the second best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 4 games, and they have now won 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 7.5 games in the division, and they are now the sole holders of the second National League wildcard spot, trailing the LA Dodgers by 9.5 games for that first spot, and they sit 1 game ahead of the San Diego Padres, who are now the first team on the outside looking in after they've held the second seed in the wild card for the entire season up until now. With this loss, however, the Miami Marlins are now 51-74. That is the worst record in the National League East, and they've lost their last 7 games. That is currently the worst losing streak in the National League, and that is the second worst record in all of baseball to the Orioles at the moment. They now trail the Atlanta Braves by 17.5 games in the division as they've lost 7 of their last 10. Jumping out to Houston, the Houston Astros hosted the Seattle Mariners, and in this matchup, the Mariners were able to beat the Astros 6-3 in extra innings. The Astros would take the 2-0 lead in the second inning. The Mariners would pepper a couple of runs in the 8th and 9th innings to send it into extra innings. Then when it went to the top of the 11th, it would be a Ty France single to make it 3-2. And then it would be a 3-run home run from Kyle Seager to make it a 4-run lead. Houston could only score 1 run in the bottom of the 11th, and it just wouldn't be enough. Big win for Seattle. For the Astros in this matchup, the start went to Framber Valdez. Valdez allowed no earned runs in the first 7 innings of the game, as he allowed only 3 hits and struck out 6 batters on the day. The loss went to the Astros closer, Ryan Stanek. Stanek allowed 4 runs in the 11th inning, and with this loss, he's 1-3 on the year. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 3 for 6. Their center fielder, Jake Myers, went 3 for 5 with an RBI. And then their designated hitter, Taylor Jones, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI. For the Seattle Mariners, the start was given to Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson would allow 2 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The win was given to the Mariners' 4th relief pitcher on the day, Paul Sewald. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitches. He pitched the entire 10th inning. He struck out 3 batters, and with this win, he's now 8-3 on the season. The save would end up going to their closer, Yohan Ramirez, who would finish the 11th inning with 2 outs, striking out a batter. He picked up his first save of the season. In the Mariners batting lineup, their first baseman, Ty France, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 15th home run of the season. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 67-58. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They've won 7 of their last 10, and they now trail the Houston Astros by 6.5 games in the division. They currently trail the Red Sox and the Oakland A's by 3 games in the wild card race, as the Mariners are currently the first team on the outside looking in. With this loss, the Houston Astros are now 73-51. That is the best record in the American League West. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games as they now sit 3.5 games ahead of the Oakland Athletics, the second team in that division. Right now, they are holding on to the second playoff seed as they sit behind the Tampa Bay Rays out east, and they sit ahead of the Chicago White Sox out in the Central. Jumping out to Milwaukee, speaking of the Central, the National League Central leaders hosted the Washington Nationals and pulled off a 7-3 win at home. For the Nationals in this matchup, the start and the loss were given to Sean Nolan. Nolan allowed 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, Nolan is 0-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder Lane Thomas went 3 for 4 on the day as he was the only player with a multi-hit game for Washington. For the Milwaukee Brew Crew, the start was given to Adrian Hauser. Hauser allowed 1 run in 3.1 innings pitched. He struck out 2 batters on the day. The win was given to their first relief pitcher, Hunter Strickland. Strickland allowed no earned runs as he finished out the 4th inning, striking out both the batters that he would face. With this win, he's 2-1 on the year. The save will go to the Brewers' elite closer, Josh Hader. He allowed no earned runs in .1 inning pitch as he finished out the ninth inning. He picked up his 26th save of the season, and in the Brewers batting lineup, their second baseman, Colton Wong, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 10th home run of the season. Their elite left fielder, Christian Yelich, went 2 for 5 with an RBI. And with this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 76-49. That is the best record in the National League Central as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 7 of their last 10. They currently have the best, or they are sitting 7.5 games ahead of the second place Cincinnati Reds in the division. And they're holding on to the second seed in the National League playoff picture, sitting 4 wins behind the San Francisco Giants, and they have 8 more wins than the Atlanta Braves, who are currently leading the Eastern Division at the moment. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 53-70. They have the 4th best record in the National League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Atlanta Braves by 14.5 games in the division, just to get a sense of where the Nats are. Jumping out to St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals hosted the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Cardinals were able to pull off a 3-0 win to continue their momentous run to try to jump back into the playoff picture. They held the Pirates to only 4 hits along with their shutout. For the Pirates, the start and the loss were given to Steven Brault. Brault allowed 1 earned run in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 1 batter. With his loss, he's 0-2 on the year. In the Pirates batting lineup, nobody on the team was able to finish with more than 1 hit, and that can be attributed to great pitching from the Cardinals. The win was given to the Cardinals starting pitcher Adam Wainwright, who allowed no earned runs in the first 8 innings of the game as he only allowed 2 hits. He struck out 9 batters, and with this win, Adam Wainwright is 12-7 on the season. The only other pitcher for the Cardinals was Alex Reyes, who had pitched the entire 9th. He allowed no earned runs and allowed maybe 2 hits in the 9th inning as he struck out 1. Alex Reyes picked up his 28th save of the season last night. And in the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, will pick up his 25th double of the season as well as his 19th home run. Their future Hall of Fame catcher, Yadier Molina, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Also, their right fielder, Lars Nootbaar, would end up going 2 for 4 as well. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 63-60. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They've won 6 of their last 10, and they now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 12 games in the division. They now trail the Cincinnati Reds by 4.5 games in the wild card race as they are the 2nd team on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, only trailing the San Diego Padres. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 44-80. That is the worst record in the National League Central. That is currently the 2nd worst record in the National League as they've lost 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 31.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Chicago, out to Wrigley, the Cubs hosted the Kansas City Royals, and in this interleague matchup, the Royals would beat the Cubs 9-1. They scored all 9 of their runs from the second to 6th inning, scoring no more than 2 runs in any of the innings. For the Cubs, the loss was given to their starting pitcher, Alec Mills. Alec Mills allowed 7 runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, Alec Mills is 5-6 on the season. In the Cubs batting lineup, their first baseman, Frank Schwindel, went 2 for 4. He was the only player on the Cubs with more than 1 hit. And for the Kansas City Royals, the win was given to their starting pitcher, Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez allowed 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With his win, he's 4-1 on the season. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Whit Merrifield, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their shortstop, Nicky Lopez, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their first baseman, Carlos Santana, went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Their right fielder, Hunter Dozier, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Their center fielder, Michael A. Taylor, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And then their third baseman, Emmanuel Rivera, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are now 55-68. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 16 games in the division. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 54-72. That is the fourth best record in the National League Central, as they have now lost their last 3 games and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They currently trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 22.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Denver, the site of the 2021 All-Star Game, the Colorado Rockies hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks, The Diamondbacks were able to beat the Cardinals 8-4 after putting up 5 runs from the 6th through 9th innings to basically build a lead that the Rockies would not be able to come back from. For the Rockies in this matchup, the start and the loss were given to John Gray. Gray allowed 5 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this loss, John Gray is 7-10 on the season, and in the Rockies batting lineup, their third baseman, Ryan McMahon, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. He was the only player on the team with a multi-hit game. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, the win was given to their starting pitcher, Taylor Widener. Widener allowed 1 earned run off of only 1 hit in 5 innings pitched. He would walk 5 batters, and he would also strike out 5. With this win, he's 2-1 on the season. In the Arizona Diamondbacks batting lineup, their left fielder, David Peralta, went 2 for 5 with a run, and the only other player with more than 1 hit was their catcher, Dalton Varsho. He went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. Varsho will go on to hit his 9th double of the season, his first triple, and his 8th home run of the year. He was a single shy of the cycle. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 42-83. That is the worst record in the National League West, and that is the worst record in the National League as a whole. They've won 7 of their last 10 games as a team, and they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 38.5 games in the division at the moment. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are now 57-67. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've lost 4 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 23 games in the division. That's basically where they sit at the moment. Jumping out to San Diego, the San Diego Padres hosted the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Phillies were able to beat the Padres 7-4, scoring all 7 of their runs between the 4th and 7th inning. After the Padres scored their first run, and then before the Padres scored their last 3 runs of the game. For the Padres in this matchup, the start was given to Craig Stammen. Craig Stammen would pitch the first 2 innings of the game, allowing no earned runs, but he did allow 2 hits. He struck out a batter. The loss went to the Padres' first relief pitcher, Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers allowed 3 earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he pitched the 3rd and 4th innings and struck out 2 batters. With this loss, he's 4-6 on the season. In the Padres batting lineup, their shortstop, Jay Cronenworth, was the only player with more than 1 hit. He went 2 for 4 with a run. For the Philadelphia Phillies, the win was given to their starting pitcher, Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson allowed 1 earned run off of 6 hits in 8 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, Gibson is 9-5 on the year. In the Phillies batting lineup, their left fielder, Odubel Herrera, went 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 11th home run of the season. Their catcher, JT Realmuto, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run, and JT Realmuto had hit his 14th home run of the season. Their first baseman, Rhys Hoskins, went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs as he hit his 25th and 26th home runs of the season. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 63-61. That is the 2nd best record in the National League East. They've won 4 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Atlanta Braves by 5 games in the division, and they now trail the Cincinnati Reds by 5 games for the 2nd National League wildcard spot. Just to get a sense of where the Phillies are, they are the 3rd team on the outside looking in, trailing the San Diego Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals at the moment. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are now 68-58. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 13 games in the division. For the first time this season, the San Diego Padres are on the outside of the National League playoff picture looking in, as they now trail the Cincinnati Reds by 1 game for the 2nd National League wildcard spot. Jumping up to the Bay Area series, the Oakland Athletics hosted the San Francisco Giants. Giants, who hold the best record in baseball. The Athletics would score their only run of the game in the bottom of the sixth off of a Mark Canha RBI single. And then at the top of the eighth, Donovan Solano would hit a home run for the San Francisco Giants to give them their 80th win of the season, making them the first team of the season to do so. For the Oakland Athletics, the start was given to Frankie Montas. Montas allowed no earned runs off of 2 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 9. For the Athletics, the loss was given to their first relief pitcher, A.J. Puk. Puk allowed 2 earned runs in the 8th inning as he struck out a batter. He would pick up his first blown save of the year, and with this loss, he's now 0-1 on the season. In the A's batting lineup, their center fielder Starling Marte went 3 for 4, and for the San Francisco Giants, the start was given to Logan Webb. Logan Webb would allow 1 earned run off of 5 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The win was given to the Giants' first relief pitcher, Dominic Leone. Leone allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitches. He struck out 2. With this win, he's now 3-2 on the season. The save was given to the San Francisco Giants closer, Jake McGee. Jake McGee would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. With this save, he now has 28 saves on the year as he pitched the entire 9th inning. In the Giants batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, but their pinch hitting second baseman Donovan Solano would go 1 for 1 with 2 RBIs and a run, as his home run was his 6th of the year. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 80-44. That is the best record in the National League West, the best record in the National League, and the best record in all of baseball as a whole. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They currently sit 2.5 games ahead of the second-place LA Dodgers in their division. And in the playoff picture, they sit ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers leading the Central, and they sit ahead of the Atlanta Braves, who are currently leading the East. Just to give a sense of where the Giants are, they are the top dog in baseball right now. They are the first team to win 80 games. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 70-55. That is the second best record in the American League West. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Houston Astros by 3.5 games in the division, and they are now tied with the Boston Red Sox for the second American League wildcard spot, as they sit 2.5 games behind the New York Yankees, and they sit 3 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners, who are at the moment the first team on the outside looking in. Jumping out to LA, the Dodgers hosted the New York Mets, and the Mets were able to pull off a 7-2 win versus LA. They were able to get 3 runs in the first inning, and after that, the Dodgers just wouldn't be able to top that. For the Dodgers in this matchup, the start and the loss were given to David Price. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, he's now 4-2 on the season. And in the Dodgers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. That can be attributed to great pitching from New York. For the Mets, the start and the win were given to Marcus Stroman. Stroman allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6 on the day, only allowing 4 hits. With this win, Marcus Stroman is 9-12 on the season. In the Mets batting lineup, their center fielder Brandon Nimmo went 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Their elite shortstop Javi Baez went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their third baseman J.D. Davis went 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 5th home run of the season. With this win, the New York Mets are now 61-63. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East. They've only won 2 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the Atlanta Braves by 7 games in the division. With this loss, the Los Angeles Dodgers are now 78-47. That is the 2nd best record in the National League West. That snapped their 9-game winning streak as they've only lost 1 of their last 10 games. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 2.5 games in the division at the moment, and they are holding on to a very comfortable lead for the first spot in the National League wildcard. They sit 9.5 games ahead of the second-place Cincinnati Reds in that race, just to let everyone know where the Dodgers are at the moment. Last but not least, jumping out to Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Los Angeles Angels, and they were able to shut the Angels out 3-0, holding the Angels to 4 hits all game. The Indians would take a 2-0 lead in the first inning off of a 2-run home run from Ahmed Rosario, and then the Angels would not be able to come back. For the Angels, the start the loss was given to their starting pitcher, Jose Suarez. Suarez allowed 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Suarez is 5-7 on the season. In the Angels batting lineup, nobody on the team was able to finish with more than 1 hit, and that can be attributed to great pitching from the Cleveland Indians. The start and the win were given to Cal Quantrill. He allowed no earned runs in 7 innings pitched. He only allowed 2 hits and only walked 2 batters. He would strike out 9 on the day, and with this win, Cal Quantrill is 4-2 on the season. The save was given to Emmanuel Clase. Emmanuel Clase would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he would strike out 1 batter in the entire 9th inning. In the Indians batting lineup, their shortstop Ahmed Rosario was the only player with a multi-hit game. He went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 8th home run of the season. With this win, the Cleveland Indians are now 61-61. That is the second best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 3 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 9.5 games in the division, just to get a sense of where the Indians are. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are now 62-64. That is the 4th best record in the American League West, as they've now lost their last 3 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They currently trail the Houston Astros by 12 games in the division, just to give a sense of where the Angels are at the moment. And that is what the MLB is looking like as we transition into today's Monday matchups, as yesterday was the travel game, and of course, starting at 1:10, there is a makeup game in Boston as the Red Sox are going to host the Texas Rangers. Nate Eovaldi is going to make the start for Boston, and Colby Allen's going to make the start for Texas. Eovaldi enters his matchup with a 10-8 record, holding a 3.91 ERA. At 7:05, Will Crow and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Humberto Mejia and the Arizona Diamondbacks. At 7:07 on ESPN+, Alek Manoah and the Toronto Blue Jays are going to host Lance Lynn and the Chicago White Sox. Lance Lynn enters his matchup with a 10-3 record, holding a 2.26 ERA, one of the lowest in baseball if it's not the lowest. And Alek Manoah enters his matchup with a 5-2 record, holding a 3.34 ERA. So, of course, both these pitchers can throw. At 7:20, Huascar Ynoa and the Atlanta Braves are going to host Jordan Montgomery and the New York Yankees. Jordan Montgomery enters his matchup with a 4-5 record, holding a 3.77 ERA. Huascar Ynoa enters his matchup with a 4-2 record, holding a 2.70 ERA on the season. At 8:05, Kyle Hendricks and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Antonio Senzatella and the Colorado Rockies. Kyle Hendricks enters his matchup with a 14-5 record, holding a 4.04 ERA. At 8:10, Zach Greinke and the Houston Astros are going to host Daniel Lynch and the Kansas City Royals. Zach Greinke enters his matchup with an 11-3 record, holding a 3.43 ERA. And then last but not least, at 9:40, Paul Blackburn and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Marco Gonzalez and the Seattle Mariners. So that is currently what baseball is looking like as of today, as we meander our way through August, as we also start to creep towards the beginning of the NFL and NBA seasons. And then looking out to what's going on with soccer. Starting off in the Premier League, Manchester United was able to draw with Southampton 1-1. After Fred would get an own goal against Manchester United, Southampton would take a 1-0 lead, and then Mason Greenwood would score in the 55th minute to tie the game up. With this draw, Man U is sitting with the 5th seed. They are tied with Everton and Brentford as the only 2 teams thus far that have won and drawn their first 2 matchups thus far in the season. Tottenham was able to beat Wolverhampton 1-0 as Dele Alli's 10th minute penalty would shoot Tottenham up to the top spot, or at least in the 4-way tie for the top spot for the top of the Prem. And then also sitting at the top is Chelsea, as Chelsea was able to beat Arsenal 2-0. Their first goal came from their elite new forward Romelu Lukaku from Belgium. And then Reece James to score in the 35th minute to give him a nice win over Arsenal. With this loss, Arsenal drops to the bottom of the table as they have now lost both their first 2 games. They are tied with 4 other teams as teams that still have yet to win a game this season in terms of points. And now Chelsea is tied with Liverpool, Brighton, and Tottenham at the very top with 6 points, meaning they won their first two games of the season. And Chelsea are now tied with Liverpool in goal differential, and that is what the Premier League is looking like. Taking a quick look at La Liga. Atletico Madrid was able to beat Elche 1-0 off of Correa's 39th minute goal. With this win, Atletico Madrid is currently sitting on top of La Liga. They are the only team in La Liga thus far that has won their first 2 games this season. And Real Madrid was able to draw with Levante 3-3 after they got their first goal from Gareth Bale in the 5th minute. Their second goal will come from Levante in the 46th minute from Martí. And then after that, the next goal would come from Campania and Levante, making it a 2-1 Levante. Real Madrid would tie it up at 2 from Vini Jr. in the 73rd minute. Robert would make it a 3-2 game in Levante's favor, and then Vinicius Jr. would tie it up in the 85th minute to give Real Madrid the edge, or to give Real Madrid at least the tie, give both teams the point. With this point, Real Madrid is now tied with Barcelona, Mallorca, and Valencia for the second second highest in the table, but they are second in terms of goal differential, so that's where they sit. That's what La Liga is looking like at the moment. Looking at what's going on in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich was able to beat Cologne as the reigning Bundesliga champs. Were able to pick up their first win of the season and the first win of the Nagelsmann era. The first goal will come in the 50th minute from their elite Polish striker, Robert Lewandowski. Then after that, Serge Gnabry, their elite German winger, would score in the 59th minute to make it 2-0. Then Cologne would score the next minute from Modeste, and then they would score 2 minutes later. So it would be after Uth's goal, it would be a 2-2 game, and then it would be a 71st minute goal from Serge Gnabry that would give Bayern Munich the 3-2 win. And with this win, Bayern Munich are now tied with Hoffenheim, Leverkusen, and Freiburg for second in the table. In terms of goal differential, they are now sitting 4th behind Leverkusen and Hoffenheim, who hold the same amount of points. And right now, Wolfsburg is the only team thus far who has won their first 2 Bundesliga games. So, of course, congrats to them. So that is what German soccer is looking like. Jumping out to what Italian soccer is looking like in its first week, because I'll get to France in a second. But starting off with Juventus. Juventus drew versus Udinese in their first matchup, as their first goal will come in the 3rd minute from their elite Argentinian forward, Paulo Dybala. The second goal of the game will come from Juan Cuadrado in the 23rd minute to make it 2-0 Juventus. And then both the second half goals from Udinese will come. The 51st minute goal will come from Pereira as a penalty, and Diolufu in the 83rd minute would tie the game up and give both teams a point. Taking a quick look at what the Serie A is looking like, Juventus is now sitting at the very middle. Right now they are holding the 8th spot with Udinese in the table in terms of who's played. And then that's the only really big team. And of course, Roma with Mourinho at the helm was able to beat Fiorentina 3-1. With this win, Roma is now sitting amongst others at the top, as they've only played 1 game. And then looking out to what's been going on with France, Lyon was able to draw with Clermont-Foot. I mentioned Lyon because Lyon might be a team that's going to be at the very top of the end. But that is virtually what's going on with sports for today, Monday, August 23rd. Once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow with another episode of The Elite. So until then, I want to thank everyone for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. And of course, thank you to the MLB, FIFA, ESPN websites for giving me the facts and figures that I needed. And of course, I apologize to all names that I butchered. I do plan on getting them right one day. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.